Hello, Warlords. Welcome to Saga Thursday. I'm your host, Rodge, as always, on this show about the Saga Miniatures game universe. We got another monthly episode here. I'm joined by my good chum, Monty. How are you, buddy?
Good, Rodge. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing well. I'm hanging in there. Overall, I'd say morale has increased quite a bit over here at the Rodge household. I'm acclimating to things. How are you doing over there?
It has peaks and valleys, but I'm picking up some speed again back at the painting table. Kind of gave that a little rest for much of the month.
Okay, cool. Well, let's just dive right into it. So we're gonna talk a little news and comments, talk about our hobby progress, games perhaps. We'll dig into that a little bit. We're gonna catch up on our Old Feud personal challenge where we were going to create Old Feud characters. I was creating the Monty and you were creating the Rodge, and we're going to share our characters, and then I'll post them on the Rodge Rules site so folks can use these beauties in their games. And then we do have a topic for this one. Are Hearthguard worth it? We shall come to a decision, a pivotal, a concrete set in stone decision. And
yes, we will.
We got a bunch of entries for the paint contest, so that was amazing. So every time, just a few more. It's getting to be quite a few. I think we can still offer up a comment on each one, but it's getting pretty close to, if we get more for the next one, we're just going to have to just fly through the photos, 2 seconds for each. And Monty will shout one word, and then, that'll be it. But yep. All right, so let's jump in here. Saga news and events. I don't know. No one has posted any events or told me about anything. Obviously the situation is difficult out there. So I did get confirmation after we recorded last show. Daycon has been postponed to August, so it's still going to happen, that Saga event in Ohio. And then, but if anybody has any Saga events out there and want to get the word out, please post. The Grand Melees, I'm not sure when those usually happen, but hopefully there's still some stuff on the schedule for later in the year. And then as far as Saga rule books and stuff like that, I have to assume there's two kind of sides of that. I mean, as far as getting things published and printed and out the door, obviously there's going to be delays with lockdowns and stuff like that. But then, depending where I was at in the process, a game designer could find himself with a great deal of time to design a game, wouldn't you say? And perhaps if in your right group of friends, you guys maybe you're still meeting or close enough, you're willing to risk it and get out there, play test. Who knows? So no news there. It's still, anybody's guess between Age of Hannibal and Age of Invasions Part 2. So we shall see there. Monty, any figures catching your eyes? Any releases? Anything like that?
So I did see something that looked really quite spectacular. I think it's Aventine Miniatures, a UK miniature maker. They mostly are like Age of Hannibal, and they do some lovely stuff for Republican Romans and I think some steppe people. They dropped a early Byzantine release, and it looks not quite like anything else I've ever seen for the Byzantine. It's a certain niche. The Byzantines had 1,000 years, so they picked a niche. I couldn't name the exact niche, but I saw it on my Twitter feed. I went to their website, I looked at it, and I thought about it for about 5 minutes. And then, Rodge, I looked over here, and I already have 100+ Byzantine to paint from a later era, and I'm like, okay, calm down. But they are beautiful figures. So if you're looking for the early Biz, late Roman early Biz, they have some really nice stuff, brand new. How about yourself, Rodge?
Cool. Nothing too much. I'm trying to stay away. I did place a big order from Gripping Beast of some cavalry models, so nothing new there. I did get some of the mounted Romans and I think the Goths. Period. Nice, I was going to kind of compare. So I'm making dark kind kind of Dark Ages cavalry for my Eastern heathens, trying to get ready for the next step there. You know, if I'm going to use them, I want some mounted guys. So those are going to form the core, I think, of those mounted troops. I got chainmail, and you know, I'll fix them up. I also got some Arab heavy cavalry. I can mix and match, just figure out something that works for those guys. And then, but nothing really new. I did see the Footsore, the Barons War Kickstarter Part 2.
Looks beautiful.
I'm not sure where in the process it is, but I'm sure at some point there'll be a Saga supplement coming out for that stuff. So, yeah, nothing new on the block as far as plastics, as far as I'm aware. So if anybody has the scuttlebutt on some new plastics, I think people are always interested in that stuff in particular. So please post below. But let's move on to just a few comments from last time.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna hit a couple fun ones here. So we discussed the Old Feud and Scattered Dice. Great episode. We once hosted an Old Feud scenario at a tournament where the players had to pick either the Brute, a Wereboar model, or the Princess, a Frog model. So that's awesome. So I think we were talking about, as a tournament organizer, forcing players to choose, you know, we don't want the Brute or the Soldier. No, none of that. You know, the Mystic and the Princess. So I thought that was great. I don't know if that was an Age of Magic tournament or just having some fun in the historicals. But, yeah. And I think because the Brute was fact to get determination. So before that, you know, if this is a while back, yeah, I think it would be a closer decision. They'd be more evenly matched up. But I thought that was fun. Another comment here from Vorthrax. Okay, yeah, so I was going to mention this in the news, but FYI, Saga World Cup is still on, although planning has slowed due to work and life distractions. Hope to see everyone in Round Rock, Texas in November. And Monty, is there anything, you know, is it hard out for you at this point? Or, you know, you're kind of entertaining before, obviously you need a team and stuff.
I would love to go. I mean, just like everyone else, just, you know, it's penciled in on the calendar. It'd be awesome. It's in the U.S. Shouldn't be difficult to get there for people like, you know, I imagine our friends down in KC, they drive down. We're a little farther. It would be a flight. So just need to see what the world looks like come fall here in the U.S.
Those plane tickets might be cheap.
Right? My wife was pointing that out to me. I mean, dirt cheap.
I haven't looked at. Have you actually looked at any of those?
My son wants to come back. So one way from New York was like $130, which is amazing.
Wow. Yeah.
I almost hopped on a plane just based on.
I'll meet you there, bud. Yeah. Holy man! Oh, cool. And then a couple honorary mentions here. Both Wojciech and Amanda were talking about mystics. Wojciech likes the mystic. Amanda's going to paint a mystic. And then I got several more mystics in the paint contest. Despite we're trying to save lives here, Monty, warn people off the mystic, but the people, they love the mystic.
Yes, they do.
I think
yes,
that's
they
funny.
Do. That is good.
And I don't know if you saw, but I posted the Eastern Princes video.
Yes, I did.
Faction review. So a lot of
that was fun.
Good comments on that one as well. A lot of people welcome the return of the faction review. I don't recall how long it's been since the last one, but
Rodge, if I can just personally weigh in. I listened to it. It helped me understand some of those abilities. Like if you don't play the board and you're reading them, you're like, how does this work with that? So TJ did such a good job. It helped me understand the abilities. And not only that, as I was done watching, I looked back over my shoulder and like, I wonder if I could fit an Eastern Princess project on my table. So, cool. Kudos to you guys. Seriously, just like anytime you spark interest, that's a sign of another great show.
Yeah, it's fun to do, and recorded it a while ago, and you know, kind of listening back while I was editing and stuff. Actually, I was kind of thinking about their power level and stuff. I actually think they're as I was going through everything, I kind of not necessarily impressed with the range of ability, because at multiple points he mentioned putting dice in the combat pool. So that's like a real red flag, I think, for the weaker war bands often put dice into the combat pool. So if you have a good board with useful ability, like you're never gonna, I mean, you never.
Agree.
I don't want to say never, but it's just really sporadic. You might put a dice in there, but you talk about multiple dice in the combat pool. You know, it's used fairly frequently. So looking at it, I think it is tougher. Focus around the Hearthguards, and there's no real way to keep those guys alive. And I was kind of looking at the Pagan Peoples board too, and it's the same kind of thing. There's a one defense against shooting ability for their Hearthguard, but, or, you know, anybody can use it, but with the Hearthguard, it's particularly useful. Take them from armor 4 to 6 against shooting. But again, nothing. So I'm kind of puzzling over how many Hearthguard I'm going to take and what I'm going to use them for, because, you know, it was after I bought all the models. So now I looked at the rules and I'm like, oh, I don't even know if I want to take these guys. But I'm just teasing our Hearthguard worth it discussion coming up here.
You are.
I don't want to jump ahead of myself. So yeah, there will be another faction review coming. So keep an eye out for that, hopefully before our next monthly meeting here, Monty. But
nice. I
think that's enough comments for now.
Yeah.
Let's jump to our hobby progress. So you have a photo.
I do. I have one.
You sent me 2 photos. You have one in our little folder here of some beautiful archers.
That's it. So that's the real one. Yeah,
okay. There's another one of like a rough desk covered with half-painted models and Tales of Despair and the airbrush. So I didn't know which way you were going to go on this. So we're going the beautiful archers.
Finished. Yeah. So shout out to Crusader Miniatures. They do I mean, I like their stuff. I like their stuff across the board. I have painted their Spanish Reconquista figures, and I love those. They also have a wonderful Frankish/Saxon warband, and I know like the slash can drive people mad, and you know, when I put it up on my Twitter account, someone's like, well, I'm not sure if the Swabian knot, you know, but maybe it slopped over to the Saxons, but whatever. What I really like about it is the character. You know, they have a lot of character, and the guys have like the top knot on top, and they just kind of look like badasses. It's a nice theme. And one day when they update the Age of Invasions book, which could be soon or a little ways out, I'll be ready to play because I've got some figures ready for it. So that's it. I managed to eke out 16 warrior archers.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. You're not the only person who's talked about trying to get ahead on this Hannibal train, getting ready for it to drop here. I might have to get started myself. I don't want to be left behind. But yeah, I can see myself doing. I'm like a combined arms kind of fella. So I think the Carthaginians are probably going to be where it's at for me. A little bit of everything. Although it's tough to build a board just rules wise to make an army work. I think that's probably the greatest challenge for building a battle board. You know, rules wise, to have it balanced and have something for all the troops to do, you know. So like a Norse Gales, you know, you have your theme. It's kind of one-dimensional. You do your thing. But if you got to cover shooting and cav and close combat and defense, attack, offense, and try to get all that in a battle board and have it be functional, fun, and then not be over the top or be too weak, that's tricky.
Yep. And don't forget the elephants.
And the elephants.
One more thing on top of it all, the elephants.
Looking forward to it. I don't know. I don't want them hit by javelins. Just go in, start hitting them with the javelins. They're going to go nuts.
Exactly.
Okay. Cool. Well, I'm glad you got some stuff done. Do you want to talk a little bit about your hobby woes here? Because
yeah,
I think I might be able to offer some advice.
Yeah,
depending
yeah.
what
So
we say here.
exactly. So Rodge, it's kind of a number of things that kind of just took the wind out of my sails. Obviously, there's this whole thing going on. I'm trying to do, like, in my personal life, got to get this house whipped into shape to potentially sell it. So that was a lot of hours, and work has been kind of crazy. So for the first time in years, when I come up to my painting room, I would just kind of look around, and I actually wouldn't do a lot of painting. That was probably about the least productive month I've had in 6 or 7 years, and I told myself that was okay. But you know what? What really helped me, like what at least for now has kind of helped turn it around a little bit, is that I didn't really have a new full project. I had little bits of this and finished that out and more. You know what I mean? So there was no one thing. I was kind of just hopping around like a butterfly on these different bits and pieces. And then I managed to talk to a buddy of mine, and he had bought my plastic Byzantine project off my hands last year, and he just happened to ping me after I watched the airbrushing class, and he said, would you be interested in buying that project back? And I said, well, as a matter of fact, I would. And I got it about a week ago. And it's just nice, like right away, just having it out, looking at it, remembering the work that I did, and like, doing the conversions and the head swaps and kit bashing to get a certain look, looking for that like first Crusades kind of militia, homegrown stuff is getting tough. So your army's made up of like 3 units of levy and maybe 3 units of Hearthguard. They don't give you a lot of choices in the Age of Crusades Byzantine one, but it's a nice look, and just getting it all out on the table and starting to like kind of practice with my airbrush again. That helped put the wind back in my sails. So I think I might be on my way out of the doldrums, but I'd be happy to talk about like how a person copes or deals with that as well.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess what colors were you putting through your airbrush?
Ooh, yeah.
So you were having some issues?
Yeah.
So you asked me, yeah.
Yep. So one of the little bumps that I ran into is I was mixing some of my standard colors, and boy, even thinning them out, right? If you thin them out too much, then they're just coming out way too thin, and that's not doing it good. Then if I get them like a little more, it's jamming up. So I'm leaning to like, a color theme, but I needed some air paints. I think it'll make it so much easier, because I do have a few Vallejo Model Airs, and those are really sweet. They go on nice, they jam up less. And so I thought, okay, well, you know what? You need to just spend a little money and fill out some air colors, and then I can mix those to pick, gradients in between the primary colors. So those will be on their way to me in the next week. Okay. Should help.
Cool. Yeah, so the Vallejo, the air stuff, works good. Looks good through the brush. I guess. So what were you using to thin your paints through the airbrush?
I do have a Vallejo, paint thinner or brush thinner, airbrush thinner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's what I use. I use a thinner. I use mostly scale 75 paints. So okay. Those work really well, even when they're broken down to really thin levels. So with some airbrush thinner, they go well. It is, I'm not sure what ratios you're using, but kind of like 50-50, like at least.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Half thinner to half of the scale 75, but I haven't had any issues. So interesting. Well, yeah, I mean, it's a learning curve to the airbrush. So you were just trying some base coats?
Yeah, that's it. And horses, just kind of getting a feel for it. And I got to be honest. So the person who pushed this theory is a rock star in the painting world, and I think it's great advice. I just don't know if it's like, a thing I can quickly train up to. He talks about like 40 PSI when he's brushing. And so when I'm kind of like trying to get the rocker, and I'm trying to get like a light little spray, and I'm doing okay, and then the 5th one, I go a little too heavy, so I got to, it's a big learning curve, but the horses are the place to start.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of big fleshy areas.
Yep.
I haven't heard of the 40 PSI. I mean, sometimes
wild,
I will
isn't it?
kick it at usually 20 to 25.
Yep.
if I'm getting a little clunky on an airbrush or a terrain project, I'll just, instead of cleaning it, I'll just keep cranking it up. To be like, I'm like, well, I did 20, there's 20 ruins here. I did 18 of them. Like, I'm not going to stop now to clean this sucker out. I'm just going to power through. So just keep cranking out the PSIs to get the last 2 done. I have done that, but not on models. So cool. Well, I'm glad you are using the airbrush, trying it out. You keeping the gray matter fresh, learning new things. I can't imagine how fast you would pump stuff out if you master the airbrush on top of your normal. Right now it's slowing you down. Yeah.
It's slowing me down, but that's okay.
Okay. Cool. Well, some mixed success there. I'm glad you're motivated. The airbrush stuff, getting used to it, kind of sucks, but once you figure it out, you're good to go. I did a little hobby work myself. I guess we'll talk about my photo here.
Yeah. Let's see that.
So finally, that was I think I talked about last time, just finishing my unit. I only had 4 to go, and they were 80 to 90% done. So I did buckle down and do the last 10 to 20% on the warriors here this last week. So I finished the Axe Maiden 2 or 3 days ago.
Awesome.
And, they turned out good.
They turned out excellent
with the colors. So there's a lot more pizzazz going on with these guys over I did the levies, and they're kind of mostly one color. They do have the little hems and stuff colored, but they don't have these shields. So the warriors have a few more bells and whistles as far as their clothing and stuff like that, and then they have the colored shields, so they're like another level of colored. And then for the Hearthguard, I want to do it like even more crazier. So like the striped pants, I'm saving for the Hearthguard, the striped Viking pants, and make them even more. And those guys have a lot of chainmail too, but I want those guys to be taken even to the next level. But so that's kind of the plan here. So I'm really happy with the colors, how they turned out. I will say they look a lot better like face on. When you're just looking at them from the top, you kind of see them from the back. They look kind of, it's just red or blue, whatever their clothing is. But when you catch them face on with the shields, they turn out pretty good. And so those guys are done. I still got way too many to go when I think about it. So
can I ask? So what is your weathering technique? Because I love on the shields your gradient from like muck and mud up to the cleaner, brighter shield. Very nice touch.
Yeah, well, that's just the airbrush, my friend.
Okay, well, there you go.
So it's the same. I talked about the last episode or the one before about just the kind of undershading with the airbrush. So the same thing just applies. I just do the shields at the same time. So
just don't put it on 40 psi or you won't have any shield at all.
Yeah.
It'll strip the paint.
That's right. It'd be like a fire hose. So happy they're done. Yeah. And that's kind of been part of my motivation, is actually finishing these guys and feeling happy about that. So I am taking a little bit of a break. I'll probably do something, a couple fun things, and then go back and do another warrior unit, and then do something else, and then come back and do another warrior unit. There's no timetable on these guys, but I do got to get them done. But I painted, so there's 32 of them now, but I'm still just over halfway because of my stupid build of bodies. So I got 2 more warrior units. I've got a 4 Hearthguard, like Berserkers, and then a Warlord to paint for the first Viking incarnation. But then I've got the heavy weapon variant. I need 24 warriors for that. I've got 16 Hearthguard ready to go. I have the archers assembled for the pagan peoples, and now I'm thinking about the horsemen. And this is just, It's getting crazy here.
So it's a vortex. It'll pull you down.
Yeah, but I'll be able to do pretty much any army, I think. Counts as for sure.
That's the idea. Nicely done.
So yeah, I'll have a nice little crown jewel in my collection. So after this, I'm painting. I don't know if you saw my latest Instagram or YouTube post here, but so last time I talked, I sold the Men of Wessex. I did keep the SAGA Thursday mascot, which is the warlord with his sword in the air, and his shield is the SAGA Thursday shield. And so I'm painting a replacement warlord to give to the person who bought Zach the Men of Wessex. So he just liked him and he wanted that one, so I'm going to paint another one. And then I'm actually painting a second one. So I have one finished and then two in progress of the same model, which is a Dark Sword Miniatures. Their Song of Ice and Fire collection. It's one of the Men of the Night's Watch is the actual model. And so it's kind of fun just painting. So I'm just going to basically copy what I did. Now, I don't have the same paints that I did before because those were painted with Vallejo or GW or whatever I had at the time. So I've since gotten rid of those. I just use scale 75. So I'm trying to use a color that's close, but it goes a lot quicker when you don't have to like think about anything. You're just like, all right, this is where that, I use the leather here. I use this different color leather here. This part is white. This part is red. It's going really quick.
Nice.
It's kind of fun to actually follow like it's like an old White Dwarf tutorial that tells you where all the colors go. It's kind of weird. I never did one of those, but it actually helps like a lot for speed. You don't have to think about anything. So that'll be fun. So I'm going to finish one of those and give it back to Zach to complete his collection. And then I've got another one that I'll just have for funsies here. I don't know, maybe a giveaway at some point. I haven't decided, but that's what I'm working on right now.
Nice. So, good job.
But I was going to say I did have my own airbrush issue. So I just do airbrush prime, and it had been quite a while, probably since maybe like I primed in December most of the Eastern Heathens, and then I haven't used the airbrush really for a couple months. And then so I was just going to prime these guys. So I didn't even think about it. I just used the Vallejo primer. I just like just put it straight into the pot, like undiluted, and then like primed like half of the one guy, and then it was like completely like the worst gum up like I've ever had. And I was like, oh, weird, this sucks, what bad luck I had. And so I had snuck downstairs just to prime them really quick, and then like I'm down there for like 40 minutes cleaning out the brush and stuff. And then I'm like, what bad luck I had there. Well, I'll just thin it a little bit more this time. And then so I pulled it in again, and I just put a drop of thinner in and mixed it, and then did it again, and it completely gummed up again. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I actually normally like thin this way down, like, and then I spent like another 25 minutes cleaning out the needle again. So yeah, that was a bonehead move. And then I just brushed on the primer after that. I should have just done that to begin with.
That seems safe. It could have gone one step worse. One moment I almost threw my airbrush in the bin. I was new. I had not cleaned it quite right. I put in my black primer. I went to prime. I lean in. I have my booth. I'm on top of the mini, and it blows in my face. It was so jammed. I had like it blew out of the top of the pot. It gets on the carpet, on my clothes. I was like, this is bullshit. I was pretty mad. But, I haven't done that since. So progress.
Yeah. That's rough.
Yeah, you got to do a test thing first.
A couple pro tips, airbrush. One, when you turn it on, just test to see if it squirts air out first without just see if you get air in, because otherwise normally you just go immediately to putting paint in, and then so first you test to see if it shoots air like on its own without making any noises, and then you're good. And then second step, you put in water and make sure it shoots water without making any bubbles bubble up back into the thing. And then if you can do that, then it's safe to put in paint, and you're going to save yourself a lot of hassle for just, I just hope it works. I hope I cleaned it good last time.
Right.
And so many times I've wasted it, just put in the paint and then it doesn't even shoot anything. But airbrush it's a good tool though. Once you figure out, I mean,
yep,
you can't really break it or anything. That's what I always thought when I first started working with it, was I was going to ruin it somehow, but it's a pretty resilient little device. Once you take bits and pieces apart, figure out how it works, no big deal. Okay. Is that enough hobby chat for
I think
this
so.
time, Monty?
Yeah.
So are you going to keep working on your Byzantines there?
Oh yeah, they're my number one. If I need a little distraction, I've got a small drop of Soviet World War II naval, just to change things up. Like you said, hit something hard, need a little change, grab a couple figures. But yeah, the airbrushers are coming to me, and I'm kind of experimenting. I'm kind of trying to get a feel of how much of a jump I can make with my highlight colors, and also just frankly just trigger control, how to do little patches rather than open the throttle and just blast the thing. So yeah, keep working on it.
Kind of learn that muscle memory. Yep. Yeah, I think trying to, as we just demonstrated with my little snafu, you want to pick it up regularly and stay in practice with that device. Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. Like I said, I'm pretty well motivated. I'm going to get those warlords done, and there still isn't a lot of time, but I'm seizing those little 20 and 30 and 40-minute windows where before I was I'll just think about what I want to do instead of just doing it. So, but motivation is good right now. So
nice.
Looking forward to it. Oh, right. Games, Monty. Last time we made it a mission to get a game of Tabletop Simulator in Saga going. We were, how did we do, Monty?
We were about 45 minutes in, still working on getting the table set when Tabletop Simulator, I think, dropped everyone.
I think it was a system-wide crash.
Yep.
Judging by the comments of FFS, I think we know what that means in the chat windows. I was just about to win FFS.
That's what I wrote. We hadn't even finished deploying, but I was just about to win. Yeah,
so we got up early, we fired it up, and we were figuring it out. Now, this was before a fellow did some nice tutorial videos on how to do the Saga on Tabletop Simulator. So did you see those, Monty?
I have not seen those yet.
Okay.
I need to check them out.
Those were a good resource, and I'll find them again. I'll post them below.
Nice. Good.
And it really explained how everything worked, because you and I were using one of the Saga, it was made by Spanish speakers, but it didn't. You could still figure out what everything was. So our module was fine. We were going to figure it out. So we were going to do some I think Vikings on Vikings. Were you going to play Vikings, right?
Oh, yes.
Keep it
simple.
I was. I had the river set up in the middle of the map. We were going to do, I think it's called the crossing. That's it, what it was? So that's the only battle from the Book of Battles, the scenario out of the 10, whatever semi-competitive ones that you can play. So I was looking forward to doing that, rounding out my Saga experience, and then we had that crash. So we did not get it rescheduled. You had your early workers coming out basically from the following weekends there on out. So we were partially successful, and we give another shot. So the way that it would work, I think, for next time is, you tell me you want to play the crossing. I'll get the river set up before we even meet. You tell me what army you want to play. I'll get the board set up for you and get your troops out. You tell me your composition, and then I can just save it. And then when the time comes, we'll pop.
Go right at it.
Might take me, like half an hour or 40 minutes. I'm not the most savvy of computer fellows, but maybe some folks could do it quicker, get it all set up, and then get going. And then it'd probably take like 2 hours, I think, to get through it. So we didn't play that. We did play a little online a different tabletop game. Mm-hmm. So this one was God tier. So if people have been, sometimes it pops up in my YouTube feed or my Instagram. I talk a little bit about this God tier game. So it kind of scratches a little fantasy itch. So it's pretty easy to play on this Tabletopia. So there's Tabletop Simulator, which is like free range. Anybody can make a mod, and that's why you need little tutorial videos to tell you how to do stuff, because it's not necessarily intuitive to folks of our generation, Monty. Maybe these youngins just know what to do. But Tabletopia is a little simpler and kind of has some better features. And they have this God tier game. It's just free to play too, so you didn't have to buy it or anything. And we kind of ran through it. So it's like a grid-based game, so there's no finicky of movement stuff to it. So it just went really quick. And so I've been having fun with that. So I've been playing probably once or twice a week, introduced a bunch of people to the game. So I played it in person kind of before the lockdown, before Adepticon was supposed to happen. I got a couple games in that weekend before with the starter set. And it's a real fun, kind of objective, real tactical game with the fantasy feel. And it's just a fun little game. I suggest folks check it out. So what did you think about it, Monty? Just running through it.
Yeah, so thoughts? I was very happy with it because we spent a little bit of time just trying to get the Saga game set up. This one was fast. It was intuitive, very clean. I think obviously a professional product. It supports the game itself, and it was something that you could pick up in 20, 30 minutes and make a reasonable go with it. So yeah, I liked it. Big thumbs up.
That's cool. Yeah, that's a fun game. So after my warlords are painted, I do have like a little starter set I'm going to paint up of the models that I have. So they'll do really good. So basically you're just painting heroes, and they're kind of little henchmen, and you form your little pantheons of gods going out kicking butt. And they make great Age of Magic hero models for sure, and then even like little Hearthguard units potentially. So they're cool. Monty, would you ever pick this up in real life?
Yeah, you know what? I go where the good gaming is, and my gaming buds are. So I already Age of Magic brought me through to the fantasy side, and that was quick and that was fun. I could do that again. It really kind of boils down to can I find, when it comes to games that I'm interested in, can I find people that would meet up at Fantasy Flight games to play whatever the rules or system is. Mm-hmm. So if I lived in Wausau, right? Okay,
yeah, I've been forcibly inducting people into playing with me, so we might have a little League of God tier going on. But yeah, it's a fun little game. The makers of Guild Ball are the people that make this, so it's like a full-fledged company behind it doing their thing, and check it out, perhaps. But well, Monty, should we commit a second time to playing?
Yes, we should.
All right, we've got another solid
right.
3 or 4 weeks here to figure it out. 3.5. Okay, we'll do it. We've got a long weekend on our side, Memorial Day.
Oh, right.
I'm sure we can make it happen. So
agree.
I'll get that river set up, buddy. I'll get your Vikings laid out for you. You can just start clicking. We'll get to it. So
I'm liking it.
Okay. If you out there have been having fun with the Tabletop Simulator, let us know. And, well, maybe we could set up some games. And maybe folks could post on the Discord if they want to get games against other people.
Good tip.
I'm assuming there's other people who want to play besides just you and me, Monty, out there.
I'm hoping.
Okay. So let's move to a few topics that we have. So we actually have 3 to hit here. So let's do our Old Feud cards.
Oh, yeah.
Shall we? Do you want to go first or second? As I will give you the guess right.
Let me... Okay, now I'm kind of nervous here. Here we go.
Okay.
So I can go first. I just had to get this open here. So here's the interesting thing before I dig in, right? Like, so we did a whole show on the heroes and kind of ranked them and strengths and weaknesses. So trying to create the Rodge, I was trying to find something that's interesting, but maybe has a little bit of friction to it, but isn't super overpowered. So here we go. Starting from the beginning, far left column, Challenger, the Rodge, of course. Went with an armor 4/4, aggression 2, saga die 0.
Aggression 2, Monty? Come on, come on!
Wait a minute. You gotta get the whole thing here. There's a reason. There's the people in the front line, and there's the people who support the people in the front line. And I frankly want to be the ones in the back. Okay. So here we go. Equipment.
Do it.
Unarmed except for his voice. And your special rules are bodyguard, determination, resilience 1, special abilities, rules, dulcet tones. In step 3 of a melee, friendly units with an M of Rodge gain 2 attack dice, which is pretty sweet. You're throwing out encouragements, right? To the hobby and to the slaughter up on the front rank. And then the second one is this is the one where I tried to make it a little interesting with just a little bit of friction. I will recount your deeds. Massacre points scored by any warlord with an M of Rodge are doubled. So the point there is that you tell all the story, not just your warlord story. You're not necessarily bard.
I tell the truth, yeah.
I'm
laying it down how it is. I'm not I'm not pulling back. I'm not sponsored by the man.
So you got to be careful. You don't want them like right up where someone can easily get at them. But, doubling massacre points for the warlord seems like kind of an interesting, for any warlord, seemed like an interesting twist on a bardish-like feel.
That's cool. So
the first column a little weak, but the second column, that's where it is. It's in your special rules.
Yeah. Do you push them forward to, go in with the warlord? If you wipe out that big Hearthguard unit with the Rodge there to witness it,
story that will live on forever.
Some huge point. Now, does the Rodge have to live to the end of the game? Do you think?
I think like
to score.
That's it.
To score to give that bonus, or is it?
Gosh. Well, look at that. I'm gonna have to write an FAQ.
We got an errata.
I just created this. This is more difficult than you think. I think just you I will recount your deeds. I think it's just straight up, you want to keep him alive. If he goes down, if Rodge dies, then you're going to fall to the and the other one lives, then it's a problem. And if they both die, then you go back to massacre points, and that's where your recounting works.
I was going to say, so frequently both of the challengers live, the Rodge will give you that edge.
Exactly. Okay. But if I'm the opposing warlord, I am going to try to find a way to angle in within M to have my deeds recounted too. So we'll see.
Yeah, well,
positional warfare.
The Rodge will be ready for that. So.
Am I going to have to? I'm going to be sweating here with the Monty.
The Monty, no. So I kind of did a similar approach. And so you're not generating any saga dice. That's pretty powerful.
Yeah, it is powerful. Super powerful, actually.
I went with armor 4 for you.
There we go.
Keep you honest, but
that's good. That's good. Better than a sorcerer.
I went with armor 5 against shooting. I was gonna give you a 6, but I think there's like an unwritten Saga rule that nobody's armor for melee or shooting deviates more than one from the other, because I couldn't think of any other example out there where it was two different. I think was the War Wagon like maybe armor 4, 6 against shooting, or vice versa. I don't remember.
It might have become a 6 in the FAQ because they were taking some heat that it's just really it's just not worth a point. So they were trying to dress it up a little.
Yeah, so I wanted to give you that 6, Monty. I knew
I'm okay with the 5,
but the 5 I thought was good enough. I gave you 4 attacks. Now Monty was like a warlord, in his youth, but he's lost a few steps in time, and so I made a nice even number, so you didn't have to think about when you close ranks, which. Do you keep 2 or you give 3? If it was a 5 or a 3, that's always an issue. So
appreciate it.
I made you a nice 4. So you do have determination. You're not a vampire like those other dice suckers we talked about. You don't want one of those. You're gonna pay for yourself. You had a resilience of 2, Monty.
Oh yes.
Now Monty sticks around, whether you like him or not. He's
like
here
or not.
He stuck through. We're coming up on your. I'm gonna have to go by. I think we're coming up on your annual. I think next month or the one after. I'm gonna have to look at that and bequeath you with. You've been doing this for a year almost, helping me out. On the monthly. It started. August? Or was it August?
Might have been August.
Okay,
Might have been August.
I was thinking June for some reason. Okay, you're getting close.
Yeah.
But so your resilience 2.
Like it. I like that a lot.
Monty, and I haven't really thought up a name for this rule like you did. So, but Monty's got a big heart. He's always giving. He's always inspirational, taking people's up on his shoulder. But it's a double-edged sword here, Monty. Like you said. So anytime a friendly unit within short takes a fatigue, they give it to Monty, whether you want it or not. So they stay fresh, but Monty takes the fatigues, and but so at some point, if you keep hammering, Monty's he's going to be vulnerable.
Yeah,
but until then, he's resilience 2, decent armor, decent attacks.
Wow.
So I tried to.
I like it.
Do something fun, different. It's tough. We can poke fun at the designers after everything's published and say how obvious things are, but. We'll have to maybe get a game in sometime with these games and test out how balanced they are.
I agree.
But I feel they're very balanced and interesting choices here. So hopefully you folks agree. And if anybody else did their own versions of themselves or us or anybody else, some of the heroes of Saga Thursday that have been out here before, it'd be fun to have a card for everybody who's ever helped, a different, the Silver Fox, Mike Mahalis, Wojciech, Chris Hainza, everybody, Hamza, the Fredericks, that'd be cool. I think about it, there is a very large number of people who've helped out over the years, so I'll just throw a thank you out to everybody. Monty has taken your burdens upon himself.
For at least once a month.
Yeah, for once a month. So cool. Well, cheers, Monty. I'm going to cheers you with the Saga 2017 Grand Melee Cup. Is that what you have? What do you have there?
Same.
2017 or unlabeled?
Unlabeled. Did I break one? Well, anyways, it's my Raven Rune.
All right.
Perfect for Saga Thursday.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
That was fun. All right. So head on over to rodgerules.com, get the cards. We'll have those up. And if anybody makes cards of their own, please share below. There's a lot of different options there. And fun stuff. Well, I like what you did there, buddy. That was good.
Yeah, I like yours too. That was very clever. Interesting dilemmas. I think they'd be. I'd like. Now I want to like when it's quiet, like work those within the heroes that are already there, and kind of like figure out that hierarchy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You want them not the best, but not the worst. So I think they fall within there.
I think so.
And
I think they both do.
So at one point, I was thinking of giving Monty equipment options that match the warlord, but so then you get them mounted, but it makes an interesting game because then you're not hunkering down in the woods.
Yeah, right.
But then against a certain war bands would be really difficult to catch him.
Right.
I think most of them could deal, but depending on the faction and the abilities. But yeah, it was tough coming up with rules there, but I was very close.
Yeah.
To giving you a crossbow, buddy.
Oh, I'd like that.
Okay, let's do. Do you want to talk about Hearthguard? Let's do Hearthguard and then
ready to pitch in.
Round it out with the paint contest. So this question actually came in as an email, and I cannot find that email because it was a question nestled in a previous paint contest. And I could not find that original email, so I apologize to that person. But they talked about are Hearthguards worth it, and they thought it would be a good discussion point. And I agreed, and I sent it to you, and you also agreed. So here we are. Yep. And this is, it's interesting. Monty, are Hearthguards worth it, buddy?
So
I'll throw that out there.
Yep. So I have two approaches. Absolutely, yes. They're important. You want to look at your faction. You want to look at your board. You might even want to drill down to like your local meta, or if like you're building a list for a tournament, like when I build a tournament list for say 3 games, I don't know who I'm going to face, you want to pick something that is multi-dimensional. So Hearthguard are a fabulous tool for your toolbox. But having just like open the door with that front, I gotta fess up to something. And my friends, and you probably have seen it. So here it goes. I often in my friendly games will run with no Hearthguard in my builds because I just love numbers. I love the warrior heavy builds, and to really pull that off, right, you got to make a decision point. Like if you're going to do Hearthguard, do you want to have a 4-pack? Well, if you're going to do a 4-pack, that doesn't punch too hard unless you got some nice abilities to juice that up a little bit. Then you probably should go for 2 points of Hearthguard, and once you've done 2 points of Hearthguard, you're kind of locked in. You throw in a levy, and now all you can do is 3 warriors. I have at times run 48 warrior builds. In fact, I did that with my Spanish once. I think I told you. I painted up all the ponies, and I was like, I want to run an all mounted warrior, Spanish build. And it's kind of crazy, and it was clunky, and it was big, but you know what? I put them all out on the table, and it was fun. So even though it's not logical, I myself often prune Hearthguard from my builds, but if I'm going to go into a tournament or like a kind of serious event, I'm going to not do that because there are some serious flaws with running all warrior or warrior heavy builds with just levy, right?
Sure.
You can't help your warlord. You don't, you're not going to, die for the warlord. You run out of dice because you get these little 3- and 2-man warrior units drifting around the table. And, your Hearthguard will generate your Saga dice right down to the last man. And that's damn helpful.
Okay. Yeah, so you touched on a lot of really good points. So I think we kind of need to drill down on this discussion a little bit because there's war bands. So there's a couple obvious reasons why you take Hearthguard versus Warriors. I think that's the main comparison we're making here. Yep. So in some war bands, the equipment options between those two are different. And one of them, your warriors may just be with bows, and the Hearthguard are mounted or on foot. So obviously they become your fighters. So sometimes your decision is made for you in that regards. And then there's also war bands where there's a plethora of Hearthguard only abilities. So that's very common. I don't know if this is a Crusades thing, but I noticed
that's
quite
one
a
of them.
few of the Crusades maybe pushing you towards the mounted elite knight, as a flavor of the period. So that kind of pushes you towards Hearthguards on those certain battle boards. But I think maybe in the Viking age, and especially I'm thinking of, there's quite a few war bands that don't really have warrior or Hearthguard specific abilities. And then the equipment options are the same. So you have to decide, are you going to take Hearthguard or warriors? And there's nothing else pushing you towards one or the other. So I think if we kind of limit ourselves to that, we really have an interesting discussion, because you might have your warband your play. Well, it's obvious that I would take, with your Eastern Princes or something, Hearthguard, because all your abilities are Hearthguard centric abilities. So there's no decision there. You got to take them if you're going to play these guys. But so I think in the Age of Vikings specifically, there's a lot of Hearthguards or warriors. Either is fine. So I can think of so the big con is obviously the bodies, the wounds, essentially. So you're getting 1 pip in armor, but the warriors have twice as many wounds. So that's not dice, it's not dice dependent. The benefit comes, you have to roll the dice and maybe you'll benefit or maybe you won't. But the wounds are always there. They're patting old Monty on the back and say, you got the numbers, buddy. I mean, so think about it this way. Would you, if you have a unit of 4 guys, they have 2 attacks each, so the output is the same, but you can be armor 5 or armor 4 with 2 wounds. I mean, if it's that option, I'm like, well, I'll take the extra wounds. That's pretty good. So that's kind of the decision there. Now, I think in Saga 2nd edition, they did a good job of adding some nuance there, shall we say. So that's the main downside. Is there any other downside to taking the Hearthguard, really?
So
you just don't have the wounds?
Yep, the wounds. I would say the one other thing is that when I lean too heavy into the warrior builds and you throw, what is it, all uncommons or something odd, and you look around, I'm like, yeah, that's great. That's why you want a balanced warband, because when you throw an odd hand of Saga dice and you can't activate your warriors, you can't activate but one of them with, say, a We Obey, then it kind of hits home like, yeah, you really want to be diversified. But to your point, yeah, sorry, go ahead, Rodge.
Well, so that's a point for the Hearthguard, essentially.
Correct.
Which you've just laid out there. The only other con besides the wound thing, I think, is, I don't know, the conquest scoring, and then sometimes numbers as far as like holding your ground and repulsing. Sometimes more bodies is beneficial for closing ranks and stuff like that. So the Hearthguard are still just count one guy. Now, did you have another con in mind for Hearthguard?
So it gets a little tricky, but when you dig into the battle boards, there are things that kind of knock me back a little bit. There are a number of abilities that are specifically like tooling up you to be Hearthguard hunters. So like if I am leaning on Hearthguard heavy, or maybe even going for like a half or more Hearthguard build, like maybe the Pagan Rus are an example. And then I look across the table and I'm playing the Norse Gales with their warriors with heavy weapons. I mean, they're built to just wreck, your 8-man Hearthguard units. And the Irish and their ability to mark you with one shot and then drop your Hearthguard, hitting them on 4, 5s, and 6s. I've learned personally they can, the Irish can shoot a Hearthguard heavy army off the table in 4 or 5 turns. It's pretty that kind of like these are little tiny pieces, but matchups tell a lot. And so if you look across the table at some of these opponents, you're like, oh shoot, it's gonna be a long day.
So basically that's just going back to the wounds, and that armor boost isn't as big a boost as you think, because there's too many ways to get, even just fatigue, to get it down. And then you're in additional trouble if you have Hearthguard with the heavy weapons. You're down to armor 4 or mounted. They're really nice shooting targets.
Yep.
So there's some issues with those guys. They're worth a point a pop. So that's the main thing, is they're just too easy to kill. But they do have plenty of buffs on their side. So so the SAGA die activation is huge. Being able to use basically any die, you're never going to be shut down the way that you will with the warriors. So I've seen this with my Age of Magic. Warband is centered around warriors and creatures, most of my hitters. I've run into it with my Vikings, using mostly warriors. You can, basically a third of the dice the warriors won't be able to use because they can't use the uncommons. But the Hearthguard, they're always going to be there. That last turn when you got to get in there, I just need two activations to get in. Those Hearthguard, they're always on your side, Monty. They're there for you.
That's right.
They're nice, but it can be a problem depending on troops that you're fighting. If you're splitting, so this is kind of a con to taking warriors and Hearthguard, because you have to allocate dice to each, so you're cutting down on your flexibility. So if I have nothing but warriors and I put down all my dice on warrior activations, I can do any warrior unit can activate. Where you have to commit to a battle plan. If half your units are Hearthguard, half your units are warriors, you have a battle plan. Whether it goes your way or not, you already committed the dice to a sequence of events. So that could be a con. So there's fewer models to paint. That's a hell of a boost, I'll say that. With my current painting speed. So the fewer models doesn't really come into play too much. Sometimes squeezing into places is better. For shooting, getting those guys within range is a lot easier, especially with javelins or something. Getting 6 to 8 Hearthguard in versus 12 warriors within javelin range, and then scooting out trying to be safe. That's a hell of a task there. Well. Especially if you're mounted, depending how big your bases are. So you can have really compact, powerful shooting units. Obviously, these guys, if you max out the unit size, they would be the heaviest hitting unit in the game. You take the 2 full points, max out your shooting at 8 or your close combat at 16. So it's going to be heavier hitting potentially, just because you can't. Just not allowed to put that many warriors together, buddy. It's against the against the law. SAGA dice. So I think this one is huge. Where probably their biggest benefit is down to the last man they generate a SAGA die. So you just have one guy left, and he's there. He's holding it out. And you've got these little piddly 1 to 3 man warrior units. I think, like you mentioned, they're not doing anything for you. Ideally, you would just throw them in, to wear people down or whatever. But you don't have enough SAGA dice to activate those guys.
Exactly.
To do that for those plays. But the Hearthguard are always generating down to the last. So, yeah. Any other boons here, Monty?
Yeah, no. I
there's
think
one big one. Well, there's one big one I'm saving for you.
Resilience for the Warlord?
Yeah, bodyguards,
there
baby.
We go. Yeah, bodyguards. There we go. Bodyguards resilience. Yeah, that was a huge change from first edition, and it keeps your opponent honest. If you have those guys there, any kind of suicide attack run against your warlord generally piddles. Agree. 100% agree.
Resilience, your warlord absorbs 3, and then you kill a Hearthguard, and then your unit will be wiped out because you spent too much. Versus gambling all or nothing.
Yep.
So that's huge. So the issue is, and so the original fellow kind of brought up Age of Magic because he thought it gave the Hearthguard a new lease on life because you could take a half point. So you could take the 6-man Hearthguard units.
Yeah.
And I really like the 6-man Hearthguard units. So I think 4 is too small for me generally.
Agree.
The Berserkers are nice. You know, and the Vikings has that little 4-pack of what you can take. So this is the struggle I had with the pagan peoples is do I take a little 4-pack? So it's kind of pushing me towards like there's like a Lifeguards unit in the Crusades, which are pretty awesome, which kind of fulfill the same role as like a little 4-pack. But I lost my train of thought there, buddy, talking about the Lifeguards. So the 4 is too small. The 6 I like.
Yeah.
But you can't get 6. You can only go to 8. And if you want to say you have 2 units of 6, and then half your warband is Hearthguards.
It's sunk into Hearthguard,
and, I thought that was a good point because I really like the 6 Hearthguard because it's not all eggs in one basket. And it's not, you know, it still hits hard. You can always activate it. You get a big bang for your buck on your Saga abilities. You know, if you have rerolls or anything which affects all the dice. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah.
In Age of Magic, did you ever just take like 6 Hearthguard?
Ooh, so once again, owning up to my weaknesses, my other world is no Hearthguard in my build. It's just a bleep ton of warriors, some with shields, some with heavy weapons, some flying, some of them are hunters. But I run into this problem where I run out of steam, and then my dice, like I start having an issue with activating units. So it starts well and it peters out. And Duckett across the pond, heavy Saga player, he said, dude, you need to run Otherworld with all Hearthguard. And so I'm like, can you imagine? I want to do that. I want to run that experiment. It's completely the opposite of what I do. So why not try it? He says it's a completely different experience. So I know that Age of Magic is very mean to Hearthguard. There's a lot of killer Hearthguard killing abilities on those boards. But I want to try it. I want to try the all Hearthguard Otherworld build, or mostly heavy, pitch the warriors and swap them out for Hearthguard and just see how it runs.
Yeah. So yeah, he posted his list on the Discord. So you can see it. It's very different than some multiple flying Hearthguard units. Right? I think that he was using them as 4-packs, or I'm not sure if that was just like the list and then he assembled them in different sizes. But very different than anything that I ever play. So I've talked multiple times about what I've been using, and it's just very different from that. But Age of Magic is a little different animal though, because you can get the Warlord on a beast who's very tough to kill. So I think in Saga, normal Saga, you don't get that. So the Bodyguard's ability is especially important. So I don't know. We've talked it over, Monty. We should have figured it out.
Have an answer?
Are Hearthguard worth it? I'm tough. I'm not sure. Can anyone solve this? Can anyone answer it, Monty? I just don't know.
Well,
it's tough because I'll just say quick that it's tough just buying a 4 Hearthguard.
Agree.
Without
that's the problem.
A plan, and you just to keep hanging around your Warlord. They're not doing anything until some punk warriors come in and kill 3 of them. Even though you're armor 5, they just roll good. Killed 3.
And therein lies the problem when I do put my toe back in and I'm running, some Hearthguard, and a bowman opens up on them, throws 4 dice, they get 3 hits. I save 1, and my mood sinks immediately because it's like that could happen at any time, right? But I'm like, this is why I don't take Hearthguard.
Yeah.
You remember those moments.
It's tough. I think some armies, it's tough because there's these armies with the battle boards or the equipment options that would make you want to take the Hearthguard.
Yes.
And in those ones, I'll I will take the Hearthguard because I'm supposed to take the Hearthguard. But in the armies where it's even, it's tough. I'm not really going to take the Hearthguard. So when I play the Vikings, I'm not going to take the Viking Hearthguard, just the generic regular ones, especially with the Berserker going on.
Agree.
So it's kind of tough for me, even with all the benefits laid out. It's kind of tough for me. I think, I don't know, if we could just house rule it that we can build the half points and I could take the 6. I think I might do that more often. I don't like the 4, but I also don't like the 8 because that is too obvious a target and there's too many ways they can get those points. Just locking up their Saga abilities. So I have pros and cons. With the 6, Monty, I'm fine with the 6.
Yep. Age of Magic.
4 and the 8. And the 12, that's too much. That's too many points of Hearthguard to go with. So I want to do the 6. Monty, can we just agree?
Yes, we can.
Allow the half point. Now, I've seen this come up on the Saga Facebook group multiple times, or where people talk about how nice it would be to use the half points and the historicals. But then usually a bunch of people comment about how, it's fine. You don't need to get too complicated. 4 or 8 is fine. There's nothing wrong with 8 Hearthguard, stuff like that. But I don't know. Maybe the next event, maybe I'm going to throw that in there, Monty.
Oh, interesting.
A half point.
Keep it fresh. Keep it fresh.
Keep it, get a little funky. You know what I mean, man?
Can't wait.
What do you say? I think the 6-pack of Hearthguard's coming for you, buddy. So, I don't know. Any closing thoughts on the Hearthguard issue? We didn't really resolve anything. I think you can sense our trepidation even with the numerous benefits listed out. They just need one more special thing. I mean, the 5 or 6 special things about them I listed weren't quite enough. I think they need just one more special thing, or just break the thing. You get 5 Hearthguards or 8 warriors for 1 point. What do you do?
Oh, okay. Wow.
It's tough. You'd probably take the Hearthguards every time then.
Yeah, I think so.
It's
That's pretty juicy.
Okay. Well, all right. So maybe 5 Hearthguards and 9 warriors.
Okay. There we go. We're going to turn this on its ear.
We got to get to the levy then. So maybe like 14 levy. I don't.
My gosh.
See, it's just a domino effect, Monty, tinkering.
Right? It is. It's dangerous. Dangerous game.
Saga physics. We got to leave the universe intact here. So, okay. Well, I hope that was an interesting discussion for folks to listen to, get your thoughts going. I know this is like the Mystic thing, Monty, where we're going to come out against it, but people are going to regale us with their tales, and I want to hear those tales.
Yeah, I do
your favorite
too.
Hearthguard builds, especially in the armies that, like Vikings. Do you use 8-man Hearthguard unit and Viking, just a Viking army? Does anybody do that? I'm sure they have a lot of fun doing it. It is really fun moving those 8 Hearthguard into combat against something and lining up your 16 attack dice.
Yep.
That is a good feeling.
Can barely fit them all in your hand.
Yeah, you add the extra ones. Ooh, that's nice.
Right.
That's another benefit.
That is true.
Yeah, let us know in the comments below. Do you love the Hearthguard? Hate them? Which side are you on? I don't know. I have to pick a co-host with opposing viewpoints, I guess.
Oops.
We're too aligned here.
And we didn't coordinate either our shirts or our views on this.
No, we definitely. I'm not about coordination, and Monty knows the behind-the-scenes prep work that comes in seconds before we start recording, telling you what to do. Okay. Cool. Good times.
Yeah.
If anybody has topics for future episodes, let us know. We're going to get to that paint contest. So thank you to Brother Vinny's once again for sponsoring this, providing those excellent hero options for us. Since then, I went to their website. I don't think I talked about it before, but so they've had all the Viking ladies and a few hero models, like I said, but they've added some. We're getting in the Crusades range, so there was 3 different kinds of Crusader models. So there was like heavy weapons on foot, and then like long swords on foot. So they weren't wielding their shields, but their swords were smaller, so you could count them as like a hand weapon shield. And then I can't recall the third option at this time, but yeah, they're really cool models. I just wish you had more, so you could do like an entire warband of them. So there's enough for the ladies, you could do that, but not so much of anything else. But yeah, so thanks to Brother Vinny's, and we've got numerous entrants, and let's just go through these real quick. What do you say, Monty?
A lot of entries. This was very hard to choose. Lots of excellent painting, and a lot of busy painters out there. Very impressive work. Yeah,
I was very happy with the number of entrants, and a lot of people. It looks like we got some people off the couch with the Old Feud talk. So numerous mystics and brutes came in. Those were the main 2 picks here, the mystics and the brutes. So we were able to see these. And we had a wide range of manufacturers. So let's get into it. So we have, I just put these in alphabetical order. Ales, I'm going to say, A-L-E-S.
Yep.
And he's from the Czech Republic. And he painted up a Games Workshop, High Elf Wizard, so Age of Magic. And I wish I could zoom in further on the Star Cloak.
Yeah,
isn't that the best thing?
Oh my gosh,
that's really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So nice work there, my friends.
Love it.
And next up, we have Amanda from the Netherlands. So she was the winner of the random goodie last time.
Yep.
So she did up this is a hassle-free miniatures model, I believe. So this is her Mystic, and this is really cool. Would be perfect in an Irish warband, wouldn't it?
Exactly.
The Irish, which I really like the eyes on this. Any wizard is like mandatory the white eyes, in my opinion, Monty. If you paint pupils on that, I'm going to come at you with white out when you're not looking. I'm going to white them out.
Thanks for the warning.
Yeah, be careful. And that I like the pants too, because the hair is bright red, and then the pants are like a nice rich, kind of like a brownish red, nice warm red. And I think it provides. You got a hit with the red, the cold green, and then the warm red again. I think it looks good.
It's excellent.
Nice skull. What kind of creature is that, you think there, Monty?
Not sure, but I'm a little worried about that dagger that's coming out.
Yeah, that's
if the spell doesn't get you, the dagger will.
That's a wicked little piece there. And that hair with those antlers on there, that's tough. She's got some neck muscles, I'll say that. Okay.
Right.
We've got Andrew from the UK up next. And this is a Gripping Beast model. Now, this is, I think it's Roland, I believe is what he told me.
Right.
So what do you think of this one?
I like it. Nice work on the pants. There's a technical term for that. That little roll around the top of the helmet.
The donut roll. I don't know.
There actually should be a technical term for it, and I can't remember what it is. And there's Roland. He's got his horn ready. If you kill him, reinforcements come in when the hero Roland dies, which is just awesome. You kill a hero, and then more troops come in. Yay! It's a tough legendary character.
Awesome. That's cool. Yeah, I like the basing, like the flowers.
Yep.
That's good. This is one of Gripping Beast's better models. The scales are really well defined. Or Andrew did a really good job painting them, painting over any molding issues. Looks good. I'm surprised he's on foot. Just the character. I assume he's like a knight that he would be mounted, but maybe not. The pants are cool. That design, I might have to see if I can zoom in a little bit. I might use that on some of my Viking Hearthguards. Some fancy trousers are where it's at. Yeah, nice work there.
Styling.
We have Chris Hainze from Poland. So this is a priest. I believe he said it was a Gripping Beast priest. So it's weird. He looks like an ogre to me. It's hard to tell the scale, like in the stones here, isn't it? I think it's a Gripping Beast priest.
Tricky.
I'm pretty sure.
I think so. I see the one where he's next to it. This could be. I think it's a Victrix Viking in the first thing. So I think it's just the pose. The pose is throwing it just a little bit, right, in the rocks. But yeah, he's coming. He's coming for you with his club. He's very angry.
I don't. He's pretty pissed. You wouldn't want this dude coming at you. Really dynamic, cool hood.
Yep.
Nice basing. Looks right at home when there's rocks. Nice job, Chris. Next up.
Chasing off the pagans.
Yeah, get out of here. And he sent a bonus photo, and that is, I think, is that Arthur? The mounted warlord. It's awesome. Those rocks are awesome.
Okay, yeah. That's right. Okay, so that's still him. Okay, yeah, nice. Wow. And see, and then now I look at that and like the basing, so I'm like, okay, so is that really? I'm just wondering the basing material. That is very impressive. I like that.
Yeah. So a few folks sent in some bonus entries, so those didn't count for them. Some people sent in multiple entries, so I guess I didn't clarify, but I'm only accepting one entry for scoring purposes. But if people want to submit their models just to show them off, I'm happy doing that. It doesn't even have to be a paint contest for you to show off your models. Doesn't that sound like a good idea?
That's awesome.
Just do a regular show off. We'll do that.
I like it.
Next up, we got Christian from Germany. This is another hassle-free miniature. So I guess I didn't know hassle-free had so many, or maybe there's not a lot, but we just had a lot of submissions of these ancient warriors. But it looks good, really dynamic.
Right.
Do you see him? He's splashing.
I did. In my quick just before load, I missed it a little bit, but yeah, it is. He's got like a resin or some material coming up. Super dynamic.
Yeah, really nice job there.
Yep.
Shield is really cool looking. It's nice wood grain on it, but the symbol looks nice as well. I like the hair as well. I wish I could paint hair this good.
That is nice.
I need to figure out hair. But yeah, that's really good. Thank you, Christian. And up next, we have Dustin from the Midwest here, USA.
Yeah.
He's got, this is a Muse miniatures or Mercer miniatures, depending how people say that. So this is, it is a conversion. So the original model doesn't look like that. The weapon options are slightly different, but yeah, this would make a great warlord, great brute model for sure.
Right.
You don't want this guy coming for you.
So Dustin, I think I know if it's the Dustin I'm thinking of, he has a beautiful Irish warband, and I'm guessing this could be just perfect.
Possibly
one of the heroes.
It's Dustin Vogel. Is that your?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yep. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, like the pants. Every Viking has to be styling with some nice trousers like those. I like looks like the decals on the shield looks good. Yeah, great figure. Really like the rocks on this guy. Superior rock painting, in my opinion, to Chris's rocks, with the addition of some woody brown tones. Chris's rocks were a little flat, a little gray. I think this is the superior rock here, Monty. If we're just going off rocks scoring.
Yeah, that is nice.
Looks good. And I like the foliage growing out of the rocks too, as well. That's awesome. All right. Next up, we got Greg. So this is Greg from Russia. We did a Russian spotlight, chatted with him a little bit. So unfortunately, this is a mystery model. He got it from a buddy. So I cannot speak to as where it comes from. But it's a really awesome model. And there is a manufacturer that has models in this style. So I'm wondering if it's one of those, but I cannot think of it right now. Monty, talk about the model a little bit while I
Yeah.
Google.
So I mean, it's interesting because as you look at it, I'm not 100% sure if, like, lots of times people kit bash, they, mix up the basing. So the skulls in the mud might be like a little tell that it's, maybe from a fantasy line. I don't know. I think it's interesting. Like, I always like to look at how people paint and the debate over like what you work from with your primer, and he's working from straight up black. So that's a lot of work, especially look at that. Half the body is skin tone right over that. Mm-hmm. And then, when you click to the shield work, oh my gosh, wow.
Yeah, so that shield pick is the money pick right there.
That's...
I mean, the design aside, just the shield boss, that's the best boss.
Yeah, I think so.
We've ever seen. Got nice weathering on it. It looks cool.
Yep. Battle damage.
Jealous of the weathering. I just can't do it, Monty. I just can't weather my stuff. I can't do it. So real great. Yeah, very dynamic model. I really like the realistic paint jobs on it. The trousers aren't. Mm-hmm. They got the design. I like, as I said multiple times, I like that nice trouser design on my Viking. So real subtle, real realistic. The tattoos look good. They look like, he's had those for 15 years. He got them when he was 10. And he grew into them. His pectorals and his distorted them. That's how they did it back then.
That's what I hear. Rite of passage.
Yeah, I thought maybe that they were a Drabant miniature. Have you looked at those?
I have, but not recently. I just realized just a small thing. I don't know if this helps. He has a little, I think the term is a torque around his neck. The little, like the twisted necklace.
Does he now? So
yeah,
he's
and so
not
he
a
might
Viking
actually
at
be.
all.
He might be Gaelic, like just with. But it also could be someone just so simply has some throwback stuff. So I mean, he has a vision to it. But we were just trying to puzzle out like who the maker of this model is. I just have never seen it again before. It's a beautiful model.
So the only reason I thought of Drabant miniatures was the faces are really kind of really dynamic, like the face of this guy. So I would not be surprised if it was like the same sculptor. Maybe did this as a one for something. But yeah, it's a really cool model.
Really
Next
is.
up, we've got JP from the Netherlands. Always a strong contender here.
Yep.
This is a Stronghold collectibles. So I think Stronghold Terrain, Stronghold collectibles. They sell some Saga models. This is one of them. Nice looking rock here as well. Makes an excellent brute model. I like the paint job, and there's a little bit of hemwork there. It's about what I'm doing on my guys. Mm-hmm. So much respect there. Nice blue and yellow. What about the little donut around the helmet, Monty?
Yeah, there's a term for it.
I don't know. He did.
Makes sense when it's 110 degrees, I'm sure. Keep the sun out of your eyes. No, really nice transitions, really nice smooth gradient. Like this a lot.
Yeah, great figure. Nice rock. I'm liking. I think I'm liking Dustin's rock a little better than that rock, but it's close. And next up, we got Keith from the UK. So we got another Mystic model. This is a Gripping Beast Witch. And that's cool.
Yeah, lots of character there.
Yeah. So
I would not follow her back to her gingerbread cookie house for sure.
No.
That's scary.
Yeah, I like the blue water.
Yep.
Yeah, magical. Like the little kitty cat. The hair is awesome. And then he had a bonus model that he submitted, which is that little devil model. Monty, that's the counselor.
There you go.
He uses that one as the counselor.
Yes,
that's perfect.
I like it. And check it out. All you have to do is give up your mortal soul, and you can learn how to use an airbrush better. I might be signing up for this.
Wow, airbrush better. You got a Saga dice, bodyguards, determination, we obey. He's got it all.
That's awesome. I like it. And he's got, very debonair. It's just, don't bother reading the contract. Just sign here below.
Very cool.
Nice. Nicely done.
Keith. We've got Martin from Canada. So he has another repeat here. This is a footsore Viking. So I don't know if he said they did a Kickstarter or they had a Viking deal at some point. They do those models of the month. So at this point, this was the Viking who, he noted the resemblance to Rollo from the Vikings television program. So probably the inspiration there. Very cool model. I like these tattoos as well.
Yeah.
Tattoos are kind of like weathering or battle damage. I'm just too afraid to do it. It
just scares me because the skin tones have taken so much work, and you got to put the tattoo over it. And if like me, you go in there and you do it half-hearted, you can really ruin it. But no, this is excellent. I love it. Nice. I even recognize a little bit like that one, it looks very Viking-ish, like a nice rune. So, and he looks pretty angry.
Yeah, it looks really cool. Angry. I like that he has the tattooed arm and shoulder going forward. So and the arm. So he believes, that is providing protection to him,
right.
And then when he's coming at you, you kind of believe it too. And you just run.
I think I would.
Yeah, very cool model. Very well based. Nice work on the tattoos. After this, we've got Sean. So this is Sean Mumi, painter extraordinaire.
Yeah.
So he is submitted a Gripping Beast model. I believe this is it's an Arab warlord of some kind. I don't recall which one. The Moors or the Saracens.
I think it's Moors. Well, I could be wrong.
Those are the two mounted ones, right?
Yeah, right. And I think he's working on a Moors warband, but you can kind of port back and forth. And I do remember, just a small tip, I've painted this guy before. He did a hand swap because they have him holding kind of it almost looks like an emperor's club, a fancy mace. And I do agree that putting a sword, a forward pointing sword looks more impressive than the mace that the figure normally comes with. Nicely done.
Yeah, I like the Crusader or the nice Templar shield below.
As we trample it.
Choosing the pill base. Nice. The bluish purple, very, very striking. Look good on the tabletop. Nice work on the donut around the top there. You're gonna have to make a note to yourself.
Yeah, get the real term,
we can learn one actual piece of historical knowledge, one episode. That's all we can offer here. Great model. kind of a small base for a warlord, don't you think, Monty?
Yeah. Huh. I wonder.
You're gonna.
He's
Sean can comment on that. This could just be like a regular guy, maybe.
Exactly. It could be, but he also, I do remember that he does stuff where he will create a bigger base and then like have bases come out of the base. So he might have that in mind too.
Keep your options open.
Right.
Yeah, because it is,
You're
even
right.
as far as cab bases go, it's not the biggest one. Yeah, it is kind of shorter. Yeah.
Agreed.
Is that looks like a metal horse. So just for the cost of lead and pewter, you can't let those get too big on you, so they're generally smaller, right? Very cool. And then he had a bonus model, which is the Stronghold collectibles.
Yeah. There he is.
Terrain guy. So it's the same model as JP here. So he sent that one in. So because he wanted to clarify. So generally, if your model is like primed, I'm okay with that. He provided like blog posts with timestamps to show that he had just started his model during the allotted time, but didn't have the very first before he put down a lick of paint. So just in case, he submitted this guy too. So I definitely wanted to throw him in there to contrast versus JP's, both sporting the blue and both cool models. I saw Sean, he has a decapitated head down there. So if this guy's got the head, that other guy got the shield, I wonder if the whole army has different battle damage or corpses and stuff underneath. All right, well, thanks for sticking with us. We're down to our last one. This is Terry, also from the Midwest. Sean is from Washington, USA. So no USA entry, but Terry is from southerly parts from us in the Midwest here. This is a William Marshall model. I believe it's footsore. Yeah.
Yep.
I believe. So what do you think of this one, buddy?
Looks good. It's I think it's out of the Barons War, and it is kind of impressive. They've got, you can see like the helmet has changed, like it's moving forward. Can't say which, maybe the Third Crusade, somewhere down the line. And the nice, I like the split colors. That's an interesting thing that you see where, he's got his chainmail, and he's one color isn't enough for this warlord. He's going two.
We can see it's got, looks like a dragon on there. Kind of cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fortunately, we got a perfect focus on the door handle on this one, but it's
I know that happens
on the one pick there, but that's fine. Right. Looks good. Nice looking bush there. Have you seen that material before?
I have not.
It's really interesting. It looks it looks interesting on its own here. I think it would look really good with like a mix of all the foliage we've seen before, and then throw this one in there. It looks really different from all that other stuff. Just the way that I don't know if it's just static grass, zapped with the little electric thing, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, really cool. And thank you to everybody who participated this time around. Yay! Yeah, Monty,
nicely
put them together.
Nicely
put them together.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Beautiful stuff.
That we had so many contestants, and quite a few people reached out and said they wouldn't have necessarily going to paint something, but since we did it, they painted a model, which is really cool to hear. And thank you once again to Brother Vinny's for sponsoring. Now, picking was very challenging. We had a lot of good entries here, but Monty and I narrowed it down. So this was our favorite model, not necessarily the technically best painted, but we decided to go with Greg from Arusha there with his excellent Viking warrior here. Love the shield work, love the tattoos. It was all within a theme, nice, subtle. I think it really fit the historical theme that it was trying to hit. And just great work. He's done some great stuff. I think he posts on the Saga Facebook group from time to time. So I think the last thing was his Scots, where he's working on the really long spears. You know, they'd be like a 12 or 14 foot compared to like an 8 foot you would expect.
Yep.
You know, so it's like got that extra length. Those guys look really cool. So very talented. Greg, he was able to participate. So we're going to give Greg his pick of those two Brother Vinny's Warlords. So he can pick one. The other one, we did a random dice off here. Monty broke out the old D12 and he rolled a 3, which is Andrew in the UK. So he will win the other one with his Song of Roland figure from Gripping Beast. So
nice.
Very cool. Well, it's going to do it, buddy, right? I think we're done.
That's it.
So I'm going to post these to the Saga Discord channel. So if you want to look at the photos, go down to the Discord below. I think that's the best place for people to go look, rather than do like a folder or something. Drives people to the Discord, sign up, get in on the Saga discussion over there. Do you like Hearthguard? Are Hearthguard worth it to you? Post below. Let us know. If you have your own variations of the Rodge or Monty or your own Old Feud Challenger, post below. I would love to make a few more cards. Create so I think there's 6. There's 6 or 8 of them normally. I think there's just 6. So if we could have like another 6 that were like reasonably well balanced, I think that'd be cool.
Oh yeah.
So if you have events coming up, let us know. And then I like people just sending us pictures of their stuff for Saga. I think that's okay. So if you want to send photos for us to talk about your model, critique it, or you know what, you could say don't critique it. I'm comfortable with what I have here, and I have a thin skin. I can't take what you guys the tongue lashing we would give you. That's fine too. So okay, that's it for this time. Thank you, Monty, for joining me once again.
Power edition.
Yeah, we're doing it. We didn't have a game to talk about, but somehow we talked for a really long time. I'm not
Yes,
sure
we did.
how that's possible, but we should stop right about now. So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Saga!